three of them Mary still did not know well. Mrs. Ford, a woman in her 40s, Mr. Twomley, and Mr. Matthews. Mary knew the final spy, Mr. Stanley, a little too well. A little over a year before, they had worked together in London, and Mary had declined his offer of marriage. Her goal over these weeks of training was to avoid him as much as possible. Mr. Stanley sat on an empty bench and gestured to the open space beside him. Mary pretended not to notice and squeezed in between Miss Tagore and Kitty. The bench was frigidly cold, and Mary hid her hands in her skirts. Why they had to train outside in late February was a mystery she had yet to solve. "Let us reflect on this morning's activities," said Lady Trafford. "Defence team, what did we learn?" Shortly after dawn, they had performed an exercise in an abandoned farm. Mary's team had been the defence, and had consisted of herself, Mr. Withrow, Mrs. Ford, and Mr. Matthews. They had been assigned to protect and extract Lady Trafford's housekeeper and confidante, Miss Borton, who had dressed as Napoleon Bonaparte. The offensive team had been tasked with performing the capture of the fake Bonaparte. Or so she had thought. Unfortunately, the offensive team's true mission had been a fake assassination, which Mary's team had failed to prevent. No one else on her team seemed inclined to answer Lady Trafford's questions, so Mary volunteered her reflections. "In many ways it is more difficult to defend than attack. You may hold the ground, but the offence may come at any angle and with all sorts of trickery, which makes it difficult to plan." "Good observation," said Lady Trafford. "There are many military commanders who prefer to attack than defend for that reason, and the principle can apply to spy work as well. What else?" She looked at Mr. Withrow and the two other members of their team in turn. Mr. Withrow glared at Mary. "It is much harder to win if you have a turncoat in your midst." Mary blinked her eyes rapidly and gritted her teeth. "Are you implying something?" "It is clear that you were working for the other team." How could he even think that? "I was not. You gave away our position. In essence, you signalled to them instead of to us." She still felt embarrassed at her failure, but his accusation was unfounded. She tried not to raise her voice, but she failed at this as well. "I would never intentionally give away our position. I had no way of knowing that they would follow me through the barn or see and interpret the signal." Lady Trafford cleared her throat. "Mr. Withrow is right that there was a turncoat, but it was not Miss Bennet. I assigned that role to Mrs. Ford." Mrs. Ford gave them both a long, slow smile. It was unclear to Mary whether Mrs. Ford was married, a widow, or had simply taken on the title of Mrs. because it suited her purposes. "So you meant to help us," said Miss Tagore. "I was unsure." Mary turned to Mr. Withrow. "You owe me an apology." He crossed his arms. "The available evidence led me to a false conclusion. There is no reason to apologise for that." As they discussed the exercise in more detail, Mary tried to suppress the irritation she felt towards Mr. Withrow, but she could not. It was like an itch. You scratched it to relieve the pain, and a few minutes later the pain only grew, spreading until it felt as if your skin was covered by scurrying beetles. "If you were assigned to assassinate Napoleon Bonaparte, what would you do?" asked Lady Trafford. 10 months ago, Bonaparte had been defeated by the Allies, and the rule of France had been returned to the Bourbon monarchy. As part of the peace accords, Bonaparte had been made Emperor of the Isle of Elba. It was a small island located in the Mediterranean Sea, in between Italy and France. Yet, despite the island's size, Bonaparte was not friendless. A number of members of his court had joined him on the island, along with over 1,000 of his finest, most loyal troops. "I would do better than the Corsican," said Mr. Matthews. A few weeks before, a man from the island of Corsica, Theodore Ubaldi, had visited Elba and befriended Napoleon Bonaparte.